Hi, thanks for coming out. I feel very privileged here that Obama's speaking right now at Bowling Green, and we all chose to come here, so it's nice here. Just wrapping up Virginia Tech. We didn't play well against a very good football team. I think it's as simple as that. That was a game that we were going to have to play at a very high level and execute at a very high level. And they certainly played inspired football after their loss to Pitt. And we had some opportunities early we didn't take advantage of. And again, just didn't execute as well as we needed to win that game. I thought our defense at times played well early, and then we gave up a couple of big plays. And then offensively, we just never really got into a rhythm, and we missed some opportunities to make big plays early. You know, if we hit that touchdown to Stokes and we stay in bounds, you know, maybe the game takes on a little different complexion, but we didn't. We missed the field goal, and we really struggled the rest of the way. So I think it's one of those games you kind of just you learn from it, but we didn't spend a lot of time dwelling on it. You know, on Sunday we moved on pretty quickly, and I think right now our focus is that we have to get better. You know, in the first 4 games, I think at times we've performed at a high level, but the last 2 weeks we haven't. So we got to get back on track and you know, have a good week of practice and play well this weekend.
Coach, will you talk a little bit, obviously the upside of those games, the Virginia Techs and Floridas are, you know, the big payday and the chance to knock off and national attention. Will you talk a little bit about the downsides?
Well, you just, I think depending on the team you have, you just worry about the, you know, you worry about the confidence factor. You know, that was, I think 2009, you know, that we opened, we had Troy here, who was a very good football team, and then went at Missouri, at Marshall, and had Boise home. And, you know, the reaction, that was a very veteran team. That we had 16 senior starters on that team. And after the Boise game, you know, a lot of them said, hey guys, let it go, we'll be fine in the MAC. Which I think was mature of them to say, but I think at a certain level I wasn't okay with it because we want to win every game we play. But the same token that our primary goals are the MAC and doing well in the conference, and we still have all that ahead of us. And we need to play better, we need to execute better. You know, we also hope there's a realization on our team that we've played against some very good football teams. And we just need to focus on us and getting better. And I still believe if we do that, we have an opportunity to have a good football team this year, but we're not playing as well as we need to. We need to get some things fixed, and we're working hard to do that.
Does playing a team of a level, and we'll just use Virginia Tech, does it make it hard to evaluate what you're doing?
I mean, you know, guys are, you know, assignment-wise, you know, football's a game of matchups. And the better team you play, sometimes the harder those matchups are to win. So when you go back and look at the tape, we don't have a lot of blown assignments. We don't have guys in the wrong gap on defense. We don't have on offense guys blocking the wrong people. You know, but to execute on offense, you know, you got to have 11 people on the same page, and you've got to win the majority of their matchups. And a lot of times on Saturday we didn't do that. You know, there's times we lost the matchup up front when we had pressure on the quarterback. There's times when we executed and won those matchups, we didn't win the matchup on the perimeter receiver. And there were times that when we did protect and maybe we got open, that we didn't throw and catch as well as we need to. And you know, again, and credit to Virginia Tech. I mean, they're a good team and they have good players, but I think our team is disappointed because we know that we're capable of playing better than we did. You know, when you go back and look at that tape, there were a lot of opportunities for us to score points. Whether it was Jerron on the one touchdown that we, you know, we had to throw the ball late, and you know, because we didn't block it in as quickly as we should have, and then Matt had to wait to throw the ball, and then Jerron lost track of where he is, and there's 7 points. And then, you know, there was a run with Anton that if we could have seen it and bounced it, we had a wide open seam that, you know, maybe we hit that one. And then later in the game, you know, we have Chris Gallen wide open in the end zone and we miss him. And we're running naked. We have Kendall Montgomery wide open in the end zone and we don't get the ball thrown on time. And again, against a team like that, if you have 6 of those plays, you better hit 4 or 5 of them, and we didn't hit any of them. So there were plays to be made that we didn't make. And I believe that we have the ability to make those plays. And, against a team like Virginia Tech, the whole game, maybe there's only 6 of those plays. And, as you play teams that I think that our matchups will be a little bit better, that hopefully there's 15 or 18 of those plays that you can make, and if you make 6 or 7 of them, you win, and if you make 10 of them, you really win. So that we just, again, we have to focus on us and make sure we execute better. Does that answer your question?
Yeah. Let me follow it up with this. It sounds that the assignments have been generally good. I don't want to put the word in your mouth, but that's what I'm sensing, and that matchups are what they are. Does that kind of give you the feeling of let's stay the course with where we're at, or?
I think it's really hard mid-season to go a completely different course. You were writing after the Idaho game that, hey, we're going to be fine at wideout. Sean Joplin stepped up and made big-time plays, and look what Chris Gallen did, and we'll be fine. And I don't think all that changes 2 weeks later because, you have a redshirt freshman wideout who made plays against Florida, who made plays against Idaho, was matched up all day against the guy that's going to be a second-round draft pick. So I still believe in Chris Gallen. I think he's a good player. I think he's going to make plays. He had a tough matchup. He went against an upperclassman, a really good player. I think it hurt us that we didn't have Sean Joplin healthy for the game. Chris had to play a lot of snaps, and he drew a tough matchup. And up front, they're good. And, at times we covered him up. But if you're going to run the ball consistently, you got to get push. And there's not a lot of teams that get push against that group. So you go back and watch the film, and you say, okay, why did you not move the ball? Why did you not score points? Were guys going the wrong direction? Were they not blocking the right guy? Or were you just not winning enough matchups? And that was a game that we didn't win enough matchups.
Is this the type of game against Rhode Island where you hope that you can regain a little bit, some of the confidence back? I know I'm not putting down Rhode Island, but they're certainly not.
You always kind of ask questions like this.
No,
you always try to go there, so you're doing it very subtly though. But go ahead.
No, but is the type of game where you hope that you kind of get back to?
We need to play well. This is certainly a game that we should match up well with them, and we need to play well. We need to execute well, and we moved the ball in offense well against Florida, and we certainly moved it well against Idaho. We self-destructed a lot that game, but if we can get back to executing the offense at the level we're capable of, and we don't have procedures, and we don't do those things, we certainly expect to have success. Having said that, I have great respect for their head coach. He runs the defense. Their defense has kept them in games, and they have struggled on offense as we have. And kind of the way they have lost games is very similar to how we've lost Virginia Tech. I think their defense keeps them in games, and their offense hasn't moved the ball or scored enough points. And eventually they give up field position and they give up points. So they're not a bad defense. Their numbers certainly don't bear that out, but James Madison was a team that went to Virginia Tech and beat them 2 years ago, and they held them in check for a half, and in the second half it got away from them.
Are there particular concerns that you have in facing Rhode Island?
My concern is I'm worried about Bowling Green. I want to get us playing at the level we're capable of. We've done a lot more good on good or ones versus ones in practice just to create a little bit more competitive environment in practice. I think our guys on offense just got to get some confidence back, and they're going to get that not by going against a scout team that's not competitive, but by making plays against a good defense, and I think we have a good defense.
You mentioned Anton Samuels a second ago. Just on a broader perspective, coming off last year where he does so well, he gets injured, comes back this year. Has there been any sort of sophomore? It has been tough adjusting to his sophomore season, or has he picked it up right where he's been?
Anton's good. Every time he gets his hands on the ball, I feel like something good's about to happen. Whether it was the run at Toledo, he had a couple of them, the coming out, the touchdown, had some nice plays against Virginia Tech, made a great play against Florida. Every time that we call a play that he's getting the ball, I you like it when there's a play that you get the ball too, don't you?
Yeah.
And Dave, would you talk a little bit about the success the MAC had this past week? I mean, what's the benefit for Bowling Green in those situations?
I think the benefit is that it gives our level of football credibility. I mean, our record in bowl games last year was the best it's been in 4 or 5 years. I think we had, 4 wins over BCS opponents last weekend. I think it just speaks to the credibility of our conference and the competitiveness of our league. And it was certainly a goal of ours this year that we would be one of those teams to get those wins. And we're disappointed that didn't happen, but I think it tells you that I think a lot of people think, geez, the non-conference schedule, once it's over, the MAC's not as tough. The MAC's tough. There's some good football teams in this conference, and I think a lot of teams are on the upswing at the same time. I mean, I saw this coming 2 years ago. Our first year here in 2009, I think there was a lot of really good teams led by senior quarterbacks. And then in 10, the whole league got really young at the quarterback position. And now you have a bunch of teams that have junior and senior quarterbacks that have been 3-year players, whether it's Western Michigan, whether it's Ball State, whether it's Toledo, whether it's us, whether, in Ohio now, Miami. I mean, a lot of those teams are playing quarterbacks that are starting for the second and third year. And in this league, it's always been quarterback driven. So, I mean, 2 years ago, we were young, and I thought we were going to be getting better, and I believe we are. We haven't proven that yet. But I could really see, I said, geez, in 2 years, a lot of teams are going to be on the upswing because they're playing young quarterbacks, and as those guys get older, they're going to be very good players. And, Dysert's a really good player, and Carter's a very good player, and Lenning's a good player, and Owens is a good player, and that has happened in Tettleton. So there's a lot of really good quarterbacks in the league, and I think to pull those games off and beat a BCS AQ conference team, you're going to have to get really good quarterback play, and I think you see that happening in the conference.
Anything else for Coach?
All right, thank you.